Mate, buckle up, because the Celtic world is absolutely shaking today. I've got three massive stories for you. Gary Lineker and Alan Shearer losing their minds over Kieran Tierney, Mark Guidi tearing into that wild Ross Desmond moment at the AGM, and the final one, the one you really need to hear, a Celtic star ruled out for the entire season. Now this one changes everything. Stay with me right to the end. We have 6 news a day to keep you updated with the mighty Celtic. Hit that subscribe button and be part of it. Look, let me tell you, if you're a Celtic fan waking up this morning, you probably still feel that wee buzz running through you after watching Kieran Tierney drag Scotland into a World Cup like a man possessed. And honestly, for everything the lad has gone through these last few years, all the injuries, all the setbacks, nights on the treatment table instead of under the floodlights, seeing him rise in stoppage time and smash in a goal that sent Hampden into orbit, that was something special. You could practically feel the roar shaking the pavements all the way down Sauchiehall Street. And do you know what makes it even sweeter? Hearing Gary Lineker and Alan Shearer, 2 boys who normally spend their time fawning over the English Premier League, sit there on their podcast and gush over Scotland like they just discovered football north of Carlisle. Lineker sounding breathless, Shearer talking about pals sending him texts from Loch Lomond as if he's suddenly some honorary Scot. It was hilarious. But you know what? Fair play. Even they couldn't pretend what Scotland did wasn't absolutely wild, because those goals, my word, Scott McTominay levitating like he was trying to headbutt the floodlights, Tierney bending one in with that wee deflection, and then Kenny McLean deciding to hit a winner from the Highlands. That's not football, that's chaos blessed by the football gods. And Shearer saying you very rarely see goals of that quality in a match of that pressure. He's right, but let's be honest, if anyone was going to deliver something that dramatic, it was always going to be Scotland. We don't do calm, we do heart attacks disguised as football matches. But here's what matters for you, the Celtic fan sitting there listening to this. Kieran Tierney, our lad, the boy raised in paradise, stepped up on the world stage like a warrior. And in a moment where the nation needed someone to ignite Hampden, it was a product of the Celtic soul who lit the fire. You can't buy that. Not with £10 million, not with £20 million. It's in the blood. And while we're at it, imagine the pain over at Ibrox, watching Scotland qualify and realizing it was Celtic men leading the charge. You could probably bottle their tears and sell them outside for souvenirs. Would pay for half the Christmas lights on Sauchiehall. Now let me throw this straight at you, because I want your take on it. Should Celtic push to bring Kieran Tierney back to paradise permanently if the chance appears, even if it means spending serious money? Hit like, hit that subscribe button. Lads, let's G it. Loudy till we hit 1,500 mad Celtic dafts. Let me take you back to that absolute circus that unfolded at Parkhead during the AGM, because honestly, if you were sitting there hoping for clarity, answers, or even a bit of humility from the board, you ended up watching something closer to a storm blowing across Glasgow Green. And right in the middle of it all, Ross Desmond stepping up like he'd just been handed the mic at karaoke night, only to pick the worst song imaginable. Mark Guidi didn't hold back on the Go radio show, and to be fair, who can blame him? He called the whole thing embarrassing, and he's spot on. It takes something spectacular for a Celtic AGM, usually a polite wee gathering where folk moan about transfers and laugh at the latest Rangers collapse, to descend into that kind of chaos. But when Peter Lawwell is running for the door quicker than the Azuis running from a title challenge, you know something has properly snapped. And the real spark that set everyone off? Ross Desmond's statement. Honestly, the lad is not even a director, yet there he was, standing up like he'd just been appointed King of Parkhead. The moment he started having a go at the support, you could feel the temperature in the room drop colder than a winter morning on Sauchiehall Street. Mark Guidi was right to call it ill-advised, because it wasn't just tone deaf. It felt like someone poking a bear that was already annoyed, hungry, and had just been told Rangers had won something completely unnecessary. Guidi said it perfectly. There's a complete breakdown between the Celtic support and the hierarchy, and you could see it. The chants, the frustration, the sheer disbelief on the faces in the hall. And the moment Desmond finished, it was as if folk collectively thought, right, that's enough of this nonsense. And then Lorwell pulled the plug, shutting the whole thing down before a single real question could even be answered. No dialogue, no accountability, just a quick exit and a promise that everything would now be handled quietly behind closed doors. Convenient, isn't it? And now we're being told there probably won't be another AGM. Instead, we'll get online questions and private voting, like some sort of polite digital tea party, as if the support, the heart and soul of the club, should just sit quietly and accept whatever comes next. That's not how Celtic works. That's not how Glasgow works, and definitely not how someone with green and white in their blood feels when the club is drifting the wrong way. So let me put this to you straight, because I want to see where you stand. Do you think the Celtic board has completely lost the trust of the supporter, and should there be major changes at the top before anything truly improves? Hit like, hit that subscribe button, lads. Let's G it, Lordy, till we hit 1500. Mad Celtic daffs. Let me tell you, you could feel it coming, but hearing the words out loud still hit like a Glasgow rainstorm slapping you in the face. Martin O'Neill confirmed the nightmare. Cameron Carter-Vickers is done for the season, finished, gone. And if that wasn't enough to sour your morning tea, O'Neill even admitted the big man is unlikely to make the World Cup with the United States next summer. Honestly, it's the sort of blow that would have the Azuis crying for months, but for you and me, it's one of those moments where you just sit back and whisper, brilliant, another test, as if we didn't have enough of those already. O'Neill told it straight, we won't see CCV until well after the business end of the season, maybe even April before he touches grass again, and that's rough, because you know exactly what he brings, the calmness, the authority, the way he just steps forward and defenders crumble like wet cardboard. When CCV is there, the whole shape looks more confident. Without him, well, let's say it's a bit like trying to paddle a boat on the Clyde with a spoon. It'll move, but not the way you want. Now, fair play to Liam Scales and Austin Trusty. They've stood up with more bravery than anything you'd ever see across the river. No moaning, no excuses, just proper Celtic grit. Scales has been playing with that fire you love, and Trusty looks like he's been here for years instead of months. But losing CCV, that's losing your anchor, that's losing the one who sets the tone. And at a time like this, with the club spinning through a whirlwind on and off the pitch, it's the last thing you wanted. And speaking of whirlwinds, we still don't have a permanent manager. 3 weeks into the search, and it feels like we're waiting on a bus that never quite appears. The sort of one where you start checking the timetable, wondering if it was cancelled sometime in 1993. O'Neill and Sean Maloney are holding it together, no doubt about that, but December is lurking. And December at Celtic, that's war, fixtures piling up, bodies tired, pressure everywhere, and everyone demanding momentum. Real momentum, not the kind of stuff the Azuis brag about before collapsing in January like they always do. Tonight at St Mirren now looks even trickier. This was already the sort of game where the pitch feels smaller, the crowd louder, and every bounce seems designed to ruin your day. Without CCV, you know it'll demand every ounce of heart from this squad. But then again, that's where Celtic lives backs against the wall, world watching, and you standing there hoping the green rises again. But let me throw this at you, and I want you to really think about it. With CCV gone for the season and no permanent manager in sight, do you believe the Celtic board has already jeopardized our title challenge? Or do you think this team still has enough backbone to carry us through? Hit that subscribe button, lads. Let's G it loudy till we hit 1500 mad Celtic dafts.